British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is vowing to fight for his job as revelations about the relationship between the former UK ambassador to Washington and Jeffrey Epstein have spiralled into a full-blown crisis. Starmer's authority with his own Labour Party really battered by the fallout of the publication of Epstein files, a man that Starmer never even met. But some of his party members are calling for him to go for his judgment in appointing Peter Mandelson to the high-profile diplomatic post, despite his ties to the convicted sex offender. Leading that charge against Starmer has been the leader of the Scottish Labour Party.
My first priority and my first loyalty is to my country, Scotland. That's why the distraction needs to end and the leadership in Downing Street has to change.
Well, Philip Turle from our International Affairs Desk is joining me here on set. Philip, yesterday afternoon, Starmer almost looked like a goner, didn't he, after the speech by the Scottish Labour leader? But then one by one, his cabinet members all came out in support of him. He's sort of survived for now?
Let's put it this way, shall we? One day at a time. I think he's clinging on by his teeth. He's about to chair another cabinet meeting today. They're all turning up in 10 Downing Street as we talk. This after, of course, that resignation call from the head of the Scottish Labour Party, which has pretty much fallen on deaf ears as far as the rest of the cabinet is concerned. I think what we're seeing here is a coming together of the cabinet members because they don't want Keir Starmer to go, not because they like him or they think that he should necessarily stay in power, but they're not sure what would happen next if he were to go, who would take over, and what that would mean for the Labour Party and also for the rest of the country. So that is something that is positive for Keir Starmer. I think under normal circumstances, if you can call these normal circumstances, maybe he would have already gone by now. But I think that is keeping him in power. And the second thing is we're waiting for the release this week of these memos that were made, this investigation into Peter Mandelson, the man at the heart of all of this current crisis hitting Number 10, who was named by Keir Starmer as ambassador to the United States and was then mentioned in the recent batch of Epstein files as being in very close contact with Jeffrey Epstein and having even given him insider information from the UK government, which is seen pretty much in the UK as being treasonous behaviour. So that's why there's this pressure on Keir Starmer. Why did you name Peter Mandelson? What was the vetting process? We're going to see much of that vetting process this week, probably before Thursday. That's when there's going to be a parliamentary recess for half-term. So these are very crucial days for the Prime Minister. He seems to be out of the woods as far as the worst is concerned, but it's still not, can he survive? It's when he's going to leave Number 10. We don't know right now when that's going to be. He could cling on for a few days, he could cling on for a few months. This could even go on until May and the upcoming elections to the Scottish Parliament, to the Welsh Parliament, to local elections in the UK. If Labour does very badly in those elections, then Keir Starmer could be out of a job. But one other thing I think he has to worry about is public perception of politics in the UK, the way the Labour Party and Keir Starmer are perceived. He's only got an 18% popularity rating right now amongst the British public. 63% say that it's like Keir Starmer. That is also something that he didn't want to have to deal with at this time because when he was elected, he thought he was going to turn things around and make the country much more positive, buoyant, and forget all the shenanigans that went under the Conservative Party. It appears it's pretty much the same thing going on under Labour right now.
There's another public perception problem, isn't there, Philip? This is the royal family, Britain's King Charles III, saying he's willing to help in a police investigation into his brother Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The Epstein affair affecting the British royal family, growing public anger there too?
Well, this is all quite unprecedented, Stuart. I mean, you don't usually get the royal family saying they're going to, or at least verbally saying they're going to take part or will volunteer to take part in a police investigation into another member of the royal family, in this case Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former Prince Andrew. This is because I think King Charles is angry, upset, and bitter about what has happened, and he doesn't want this to fall foul of the public. If you look at events over the past few months, you've seen the king will move when he is attacked. He was jeered and shouted at when he was on a walkabout in the north of England a couple of months ago. That ended up with Andrew being told pretty quickly that he was going to lose his title of prince and all the other titles that he had were going to be removed, the remaining ones. Then there was the release of these 3 million extra documents where we see these pictures of Andrew on all fours over another girl's lying on the floor, and more revelations about his antics with Jeffrey Epstein. There we saw the king tell Andrew he's got to move out of his house, Royal Lodge, quickly. And now we've had another heckling going on in the street yesterday. The king saying, OK, as a result of this, we're going to take part, or we will be willing to take part in an inquiry by the police into Andrew. There's also been a statement from William and Kate William, who's on a trip to Saudi Arabia, saying that they are thinking of the victims. It's damage control. It's damage control, and also there's a split in the royal family between those who don't think that the king is doing enough, those who think that Andrew should be banned, and the overall feeling that this scandal with Jeffrey Epstein and Andrew is overshadowing everything the royal family is doing, because that's the only talking point. All the hard work the others are doing has completely disappeared into the bushes. So I think that this is a desperate bid by the royal family to try to save as much as they can. Will it be enough? That remains to be seen.
Finally, Philip, let's cross the channel. Here in France, there are calls, aren't there, for an investigation into a flat acquired by Jeffrey Epstein in Paris. Investigators wanted to know whether that flat may have been used for abusing underage girls, and if so, who the victims might be.
Well, more sordid details here after the business with Jack Long, the former culture minister, and his daughter Caroline. Now we have focus on this flat, which is in Avenue Foch, number 22 Avenue Foch, a very fashionable part of the French capital near the Arc de Triomphe. It was bought by Jeffrey Epstein back in 2002. He paid 3.5 million euros for it. It's an enormous flat, 740 square metres, which is much bigger than practically everybody's flat in Paris. And 4 bedrooms, 4 reception rooms, there's a gym, there's also a massage room. Now, the investigators who were brought in 2019 following some complaints about illegal goings-on there and rape said that anybody who put a foot inside the flat of Jeffrey Epstein would know exactly what he had been up to and would be aware of his deviancy. There were pictures of girls all over the walls, scantily clad underage girls. There were pictures of Jeffrey Epstein with Michael Jackson, Donald Trump, Richard Branson, Woody Allen, all as a way of trying to impress the people going into the flat and at the same time to intimidate them that they were in a place where they were with the rich and powerful, so they better be quiet. 2 girls have come forward to say they were raped in that flat. One of them saying not by Jeffrey Epstein, but by another man, Jean-Luc Brunel, who was the head of a modelling agency, who was kicked out of the US for rape and put in jail, and then came back to France and created a new modelling agency called MC Model Management, where he received up to $1 million from Jeffrey Epstein, had free use of this apartment, and then committed suicide in prison in 2022. That shut off the investigation. What this new call is from a NGO which protects young girls, and they say this investigation should be reopened because there were victims in that flat who were still alive. They need justice. That's why we need to investigate what's been going on, and justice needs to be done for them. Whether that will go any further, we don't know, but this is going to be another embarrassment for the French authorities, that's for sure.
We'll continue.